we speak to the Principal Secretary, Investments Promotion, Abubakar Hassan Abubakar. And there's so much to speak about, including some of the recent events in the country. PS, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, John.
Absolutely. You know, let's begin with the mandate of your State Department established under the Executive Order 1 of 2023. Most importantly, what is the goal and vision of the State Department?
A lot of achievements. First, let me talk of maybe qualitative achievements and then quantitative achievements. From the qualitative achievements in the year 2023, and under the leadership of His Excellency the President, I think Kenya has been rated #1 in Africa as a country with the greatest investment momentum. And the source of that is the FDA intelligence. Okay? Bloomberg also rated Kenya #1. In fact, they said it's the Singapore of Africa. So qualitatively, those were the ratings we got in terms of positioning ourselves as a premier and a preferred investment destination. But quantitatively, according to the Africa Big Deals or the Africa Investment Report, Kenya was #1 in terms of attracting startup funding. We managed to, in the last 1 year, we managed to attract $800 million in terms of startup funding. In terms of domestic private investment, you know, any investment, it needs investment financing. So you measure the money by the financing of that investment. So in Kenya, the credit to the private sector, when we started, it was around 380 billion. In 2023, it had increased to 480 billion. So we have managed to attract 100 billion more in terms of domestic private investment. And that is loan. You know, any loan when it is which is given, it's maybe 70%. So 35% is equity. So if 100 billion was loan, then that means, and that is 70%, then 30% equity. So it looks like we have managed to attract private investment, domestic private investment of almost 150 billion Kenya shilling. But most importantly is on the foreign investment, what we have been able to attract. According to the UNCTAD report of 2023, Kenya had attracted $750 million in 2022. In 2023, we have managed to attract 1.5 billion. So we have doubled the foreign investment from 750 to 1.5 billion US. So those are the qualitative and the quantitative achievements that this new State Department, you know, it's a new State Department, has been able to achieve in terms of investments are concerned.
As we talk about those achievements, PS, I'm sure you've seen the conversations ongoing, and what tops the agenda is youth unemployment.
Yes.
Based on what is ongoing, what do you think are the interventions of your State Department in resolving this big puzzle called youth unemployment?
Okay. Of course, when we are attracting this investment, we are expecting this investment to be invested. They are invested in economic activities that will create job creation. His Excellency the President is deliberate and intentional in creating jobs for the youth. And he has 4 programs which are very close to his heart. One is the affordable housing program, where we believe that many of our youths are going to be absorbed there. Around 160,000 so far have been absorbed into his housing program. But the second program for youth employment is the digital space. The digital jobs. The government is investing in a lot of in the ICT infrastructure, and our youth are very techy, right? So a lot of jobs we intend to create, almost 1.5 million jobs there in different sectors of in the ICT in the ICT space. For example, we are focusing mainly on the BPO space. The president, I think last month but 2. Just open as a BPO enterprise in one of our special economic zone, with just one employed over 5,000 youth. So that in the digital space, that is where we are going. His Excellency the President is focusing on creating digital jobs.
Still dealing with the ongoings in the country, the rejection of a finance bill obviously means the government has to look for other alternatives, one of them being to use the finance bill 2023, that is the one we used last year.
Yeah.
What opportunities exist in that finance bill that investors can leverage on since the 2024 one has been rejected?
Wow, many opportunities. That bill was the best bill for business community, I believe.
The 2024 bill?
The 2023. The 2024 now is res judicata. It has already been determined that it has been rejected. Although it was also good, in my view, the only problem was the information asymmetry. It has not been communicated well to the people it was affecting, and it's unfortunate that it was withdrawn by the president. But we have learned the lesson. We are going to improve on that in the communication. But the 2023 is what we'll rely on, and it is good, in my view, for the investment and the business community, because it lowers the cost of doing business. For example, in the 2023, when you import, for example, goods, there's something called railway development levy or import declaration fee. It was reduced from 3.5% to 2.5%. The railway development levy reduced from 2% to 1.5%. We have also eliminated those the RDL and the IDF if you are importing raw material for manufacturing. So that is one of that was in the Finance Act of 2023.
I want us to move a bit away from that and talk about the Economic Partnership Agreement with the European Union. Kenya has walked a long journey, really, to get to where we are in terms of it being ratified by Cabinet, even being ratified by the European Union Parliament. But the question is, for the normal Kenyan out there who has had this term being floated around, EPA, European Union,
Economic Partnership
the question is, what benefit does it accrue, for Kenyans?
Oh, okay. In investments, there are three things which are drivers of investments. Yeah, even when we go to attract foreign investment, the foreigners you'll get three types of foreign investment: market seeking, FDI, efficiency seeking, FDI, and resource seeking, FDI. So that is where the rubber meets. Once you have all the environment and all that, that is where the discussion will be. If I invest, I'll produce something, where will I sell? Is there a market for what we are going to produce? And that is where we are working on expanding and diversifying the market for any investor who will set up here.
When you talk about EPA, most of the people who have heard about this think it is just solely about exports. And when you talk about exports, the normal products that we sell here, that is tea, avocado, coffee, and stuff like that. Does the scope go beyond the traditional exports that Kenya is known for?
Yes, it goes again more than that. But before you can export, you must be competitive. So we are already internationally competitive in terms of our tea, coffee, horticulture. We are already internationally competitive. So we can work on that because we have the strength there. We become better so that nobody can beat us. But there is scope for other products to be exported to those markets. Yeah.
Let's talk about your recent visit to South Korea.
Yes.
You were accompanying the president there when he was in South Korea.
Yes.
And as you were making reference earlier, much of what the president gets bashing for is this international travel. The question is, that one for South Korea, because I saw you there. What is in it for Kenyans? Yeah.
First of all, let me tell you this. When this department was established, we were looking at the statistics of the foreign investment into Kenya, and the statistics was that it was declining. The best ever foreign investment in Kenya was in 2011. It was around 2.1 billion, and the source is anchored. Yeah? Then for the last 5 years, from 2018, the best was 1.1 billion US dollar, and it was declining like this. So when we came in 2021, it was the lowest. It was around 460 million US dollars. So we wanted to revise that, yeah, to reverse that trend. And we were asking ourselves, what are the barriers? What is causing this decline? And number one barrier, which had a lot of weight, was inadequate global positioning. Yeah, we were not in the map, in the global map, for the investors to feel us. And that's why His Excellency the President took the initiative under his leadership to profile Kenya out there. Yeah, put us on the global map, and as a result of that, you're seeing the qualitative ratings. We are number one in Africa in terms of the country of the greatest investment momentum. So that is what he has done. So he's doing in his diplomacy out there. He's focusing on economic diplomacy, on how to strengthen and broadening and deepening our trade and investment relationship. So with respect to South Korea. First of all, South Korea is a country which we should be interested because of their journey to prosperity. You can see if you read the history, Kenya used to aid South Korea, but now South Korea is giving aid to many countries and is among the 20th most industrialized nation. And Kenya is already a hub for many South Korean companies like the Samsung and the Hyundai. But our job there was really looking for how are we going to position ourselves, because it was a summit, South Korea Africa Summit, right? South Korea, they have an interest in Africa. We also have an interest in South Korea. But how do we position Kenya as a gateway to Africa? And that is why the President went to do that. For example, in terms of the outbound FDI from South Korea, if you look at the statistic in 2023, there was $63 billion outward FDI. But what came to Africa was less than 0.1%. So we want to position, the President wants to position Kenya on how we can get a slice of that FDI. If we can even get 5%, that is already almost $3 billion just from South Korea. Because South Korea they're very good in electronics, you're aware of that. They are the second largest manufacturer of semiconductors. In the electric vehicle battery, in the market, they have a market of almost 25% market share in the world. But in the EV battery, 95% of their critical minerals, they import it. Yeah? And we believe as a country, they can come here. We believe we have those minerals, critical minerals for that EV battery. So we wanted to attract them here so that they can explore, extract, and refine, process those minerals.
You talked about the reason why the President was there, accompanied by you and other government officials, to pitch, particularly for Kenya.
Yes.
Ready for investment and ready for business. Do you think you succeeded in that?
Yes, we did. And we have gotten a lot of leads. We were there with the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce. As our private sector, we have a lot of leads. We have now developed a pipeline. We are now working on converting those leads to actual investment deals and actual deployment of the capital into our Kenyan economy.
Let me take you to New Jersey. Allow me to take you to New Jersey because, because when the President was on a state visit to the U.S., you were in New Jersey also, where you spoke to members of the Kenyan diaspora in New Jersey. Yes. And one of the promises you gave is to protect their investments once they invest back home. Yes. How do you plan to do that?
Okay, let me say this. The diaspora market, the diaspora remittance market, is around 600 billion market. Yeah, out of that diaspora remittance, out of that only 100 billion comes to Africa, and in Kenya we've only managed to attract 4 billion US dollars. And the problem, we have looked at the research. The problem is that 4 billion is only 5% of the disposable income of our diaspora guys. So if they can just give us 10% of their disposable income, we will just double from 4 to 8 billion US dollars. And if we can convert that 50% to investment, we will really help in our investment. But the reason why they are not giving, they're not sending more, they're just sending 5%, is because of lack of trust They're saying we send our money there and they don't, it's not being used constructively for investment. Most of it is used for consumption. If anything is for investment, they don't trust. So I went there to give them assurance that we have investment vehicles in Kenya, that if you invest in Kenya, your money will be safe. And now you increase the amount of your disposable income from 5 to 10%. And that is why I was telling them their money will be safe.
As we wind up, PS, we are in a period of accountability.
Yes.
That is what Kenyans are speaking out there.
Yes.
What would you want Kenyans to hold you accountable for during your time as the Principal Secretary, State Department for Investments Promotions?
You need to be held accountable. First, I need to say this. His Excellency the President has his agenda is economic transformation agenda. Whenever there is a transformation, especially economic transformation, there is redistribution of benefits. So it's a painful exercise for those who feel like it's not business as usual. So this pain it's deemed to be there, and it's whether we can humiliate for some time and then we become better, or we don't. As we just need to believe in the plan and trust the process of doing it, because as I told you earlier, if there's no pain, no gain. But what I need to be accountable is the mandate I was given. The mandate is to increase the level of private investment into the Kenyan economy, because the president wants his policy, he wants our economic growth to be private sector led and private sector investment-led economic growth. So I need to be accountable on how I'm attracting, is investment increasing into the Kenyan economy, and whether that investment is beneficial to the Kenyans in terms of creating jobs for our youth. And I think with the grace of God, we have been able to do something for the country in a special way.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, PS. We wish you all the very best, of course, as you continue to dispense your mandate. We've been speaking to the Principal Secretary for Investments Promotion, that is PS Abubakar Hassan Abubakar. And that's just Kenya's grand plan for investment, but most importantly, what is being done to address the unemployment problem in the Republic. So we put a cap on Prime Edition. Have yourself a good night. God bless.